Well, good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. Yes, I know it's a wanky name, by the way, Walking Boxing. If you don't follow the channel, it's pretty much a play on the other show I do on this channel called Talking Boxing. But it's the best I can do at the moment. So if you've got another name for me, let me know. But it'll have to do for the time being. But today I just want to touch on a couple of things I actually spoke about yesterday, being Canelo Alvarez and Michael Zerafa. And I just sort of touched on the stories about them. Canelo, of course, fighting Edgar Berlanga. Michael Zerafa has done an in-depth interview on Main Event with Ben Damon and had a little bit to say about Tszyu. But it sort of blew up yesterday. A lot of the comments online and on social media and all that sort of stuff was quite surprising. You probably understand that the Canelo Alvarez comments were pretty scathing towards him about the Berlanga fight. I understand that, but the one that, or the situation that really sort of got my attention was the Michael Zerafa one, because he'd had a fair bit to say, but I was actually quite surprised at the level of support that he actually got. Now, this is a guy, especially even not from Australia, who hated is a bad word. It's a really bad word, so I'm not going to use that word. But let's just say there's a lot of people that aren't fans of Michael Zerafa. A lot of it's self-inflicted. He does talk it up a little bit. He does sell the fight, which is what it's about. And whether you love him or hate him or whatever it might be, you have to give him credit for that. But I was a little bit amused and bemused and whatever you might want to call it about the whole thing, because he had a bit to say, and as I said, he did get a level of support. Now, what he did say, I'll run over, is that, I'll just get my dog here, is that he said that Tszyu, it's a joke that he keeps saying that people are scared of him and they keep pulling out and this and that, and he's some sort of monster here in Australia, and everyone's got this false belief of who he is and what he is. And look, I understand that, just sort of trying to revive the rivalry, because I mean, this is a guy, by the way, who got absolutely iced in his last fight in 2 rounds, and won a pay-per-view event in America, T-Mobile Arena, and all of a sudden he's on the scrap heap, and it's a way to maybe get his name back out there and maybe revive his career. And that's good. That's great marketing and great, I won't say it's great management, because I think it's more Michael himself. I'm not quite sure who his management is these days, by the way. He seems to change at every single fight. But he did say, as I said, that Tszyu, he fought nobodies, contenders, pretenders, prospects. He did say a few different things, and then sort of compared it to himself, where he said, well, I fought Kell Brook, I fought Peter Quillen, I fought Erislandy Lara. So, you know, I've stepped up and fought the best, and he hasn't, and all the rest of it. So look, to some extent he's right. I mean, looking at it on sort of paper, you would probably have to agree that, you know, Kell Brook, Peter Quillen and Lara are arguably a better resume than who Tim's fought. Tim's, obviously, his biggest wins are, well, Jeff Horn to start, and then he had, you know, he's had Mendoza, he's had, I won't say Ocampo, but Tony Harrison. You know, he's had some big wins. The one thing I'll say, though, is that while Michael, and actually his exact words were, well, what do you say? I've fallen short. I fought the best. I fought way better fighters than Tim, but I've fallen short. Well, that's probably where I've got to disagree a little bit. Yes, he's fought some names, but he went to America as a young guy, by the way, so you have to give him a, you know, maybe an asterisk, but he fought Peter Quillen and got knocked unconscious and carried out on a stretcher. That's not really falling short. He went to England and fought Kell Brook. Again, full credit to Michael for, again, daring to step up. Barely won a round. Was totally dominated for 12 rounds, lost a wide unanimous decision. That's not really falling short. And then, of course, the Erislandy Lara fight, he went to the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas for the, WBA title, and got knocked out cold in the second round by a 41-year-old who hadn't fought in 2 years. That's not necessarily falling short. So while I respect Michael for doing that, we've got to, as he always says, talking facts, and that is fact. Yes, you've stepped up, but you haven't come close to beating any of those guys. And it's probably, there's a difference between fighting the best and there's another thing of actually competing against the best. And he hasn't really been in those fights at all. So again, I'm not shitting on Michael here, I'm just sort of stating the facts. Whereas Tim, on the other hand, okay, maybe they might have been a little bit past at some of the guys, maybe they might have been a bit overrated, maybe whatever. But the fact of the matter is, first of all, he won those fights. And secondly, I have no doubt that probably unlike Michael Zerafa, who I don't think is at world level, well, I think I know he's not really at world level, he's sort of shown that. The difference is that Tszyu is. And whether or not he hasn't fought the Crawfords and Spencers and Charlos and all that sort of thing. Remember, he was scheduled to fight Charlo, and it was Charlo who actually pulled out. So he was actually scheduled to fight him. But yes, he hasn't fought those guys, but I have no doubt that he 100% competes against those guys, and whether he wins or loses, that's arguable. We can all, debate that. But the bottom line is he's in that league. He's in the category. He stands well and truly besides those guys. Obviously, maybe Crawford, you could probably put a little bit higher at the moment, of course, because he deserves it. Great fighter, top 2 or 3 pound for pound in the world. But I think with Spence, Charlo, Ortiz, Fundora, you name it, any other fighters, Boots Ennis, all that, I know he's 147, but we'll put him in the 154 pound sort of class, I suppose. Tim stands alongside those guys and doesn't look out of place, and I think he beats, he has a great chance of beating all those guys. Now, whether or not he gets the chance to fight all those guys, I suppose we'll see, but that's the difference for me. And Michael can say all he wants about Tim, but the fact of the matter is that Tim is at A level, he competes with A level, and Michael unfortunately doesn't. So I respect him for wanting the fight with Tim, for pushing the fight, but I don't think that fight's going to happen. I did say yesterday, I just think he thinks he's a little bit more relevant than what he is, or a lot more relevant than what he is, and he's just not. So I think Tim and his team would have probably just laughed at that, but doesn't mean to say that the Nikita Tszyu fight isn't in play at some stage. And just on the Canelo Alvarez situation, I think he gets a lot of hate. Canelo, I said again yesterday, and he really copped a lot of people questioning his legacy and all this sort of stuff. I mean, come on, guys. This is a fighter that is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Yes, he's probably from the Floyd Mayweather sort of bracket, I suppose, where he can pick his opponents when he wants and stipulate the conditions. But look, you earn that right. And you remember he did fight Mayweather back in 2013, and I think he learned a lot from Floyd, not just in the ring that night, but outside the ring, about how to conduct business. And I think he's doing what he's pretty much entitled to do. Yeah, I know we want the Benavides fight, but to be honest with you, I'm not that stressed about Benavides going up to 175 and fighting the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol. I think that that is actually a better fight. Either one of those guys against Benavides, I would love to see. And then he's going to have fights against probably Morrell and who knows whoever else. So it's not all doom and gloom for Benavides. Just Canelo, I think, in my opinion, again, just my opinion, it is my little show, Walking Boxing, that I just think it's better for Benavides, and I just think Canelo, it's a business decision for him, and I respect it. Is Berlanga a credible opponent? Probably not at this stage. I did actually see yesterday that, I know they've built up the Mexican-Puerto Rico rivalry thing, but apparently Berlanga can't even speak Spanish. So I don't know how they're going to do that. But hey, that's why they call them promoters. They've got to promote the fight. But look, I just think props to Canelo just for keeping busy. And now one thing I will say, actually, that's what I wanted to say. For everyone out there that are just shitting on Canelo at the moment and everything else, just maybe look at the bigger picture. Maybe, just maybe, he's got some sort of agreement with either Benavides, maybe, I doubt it, but you never know, or Terence Crawford for maybe May next year. And he's simply taken this fight to keep his September date. He likes to keep busy. He likes to stick to his program and fight twice a year, sometimes 3 times a year. So maybe, just maybe, he's got those guys lined up for May next year and just wants to keep that September date, keep busy and get a payday and fight Berlanga. So the only thing I will say though about Canelo in the Benavidez situation, if it's a business decision not to fight David Benavidez, and that's fine. We don't like it, but that's the business we're in, or they're in. But I would hope that the WBC would at least strip Canelo and say, look, if you don't want to fight him, that's great. But let's do what the IBF have done, and we're going to have to take the belt, and you're going to have to just make do with the other belts in the division. So that's probably the only thing I would say. No dramas with him not fighting Benavidez. He's obviously got his reasons, but at least give up the belt. So that's probably my stipulation. But look, I'll be over there. I'm actually looking forward to getting over there for the event. If you haven't been over there, a big fight in Vegas, you can't beat it. With the UFC on at the same time, it should be massive. I don't think it takes away from the Canelo fight, the UFC I'm talking about. I know there's been Oscar De La Hoya with his clapback Thursdays did say yesterday that good luck with that. I think he'll have a sellout crowd. I think that the buzz will still be there. There'll be still a lot of people there from Mexico and Puerto Rico, and I think it'll be a massive event. The UFC will do their thing down the road and sell out their stadium. It should be awesome, by the way, at the Sphere. And everyone will be happy, everyone will make money, and everyone will move on to bigger and better things. So that's about it for today. But what do you think? I'll think of something else to talk about tomorrow, but I just wanted to touch on that again today because there was a fair bit of blow up on social media and everything about it yesterday. So hope you have a good day, and we'll catch you tomorrow for walking boxing. See you then.